For this activity using Lisrel 9.1, we're going to model the relationship between the construct of depression, which is measured by 4 depression items, self-esteem, which is measured by 5 self-esteem items, and impulsivity, which is measured by 3 impulsivity items. What you need to do now is, or if you have not already done so, create a folder and name it depression, or the name, whatever file you want to name it, and then make sure that you have the SPSS data file in that folder that has the items that are measuring the constructs of interest. So I'm going to show you how we can set this analysis up. So the first thing we do is go to File and Import Data. And because we're using an SPSS data file, we want to click on SPSS for Windows. And so we select that file and open it. And then we can name it, in this case, depression or depress. I'm going to name it depress. And then we want to save it. Okay. And so then you should see the pre-list spreadsheet and make sure all the items are there. So we got the 5 self-esteem items, we got the 4 depression items, and the 3 impulse items, impulsivity items. So the next thing we have to do is go to Data and define our variables. In this case, all our variables are ordinal, and so we can click on ordinal and click on or check apply to all, and then OK. And so now all our items are considered ordinal items. The next thing we want to do is create a new path diagram. And again, we can name that, I'm going to name it depress, and then I'll save that. Then we go to Setup and Variables. And in the Labels box, we want to click on Add or Read Variables. And we want to select Lisrel system file. And then we see the depress LSF file. And we're going to highlight that and open it, and then go OK. Now we should have all our variables that we're going to use for our analysis in the Observe Variable box. But now we have 3 latent variables that we need to add. The first one we add is depress. And then self-esteem and impulsivity. Okay. And then we can go OK. Now, self-esteem and impulse are considered eta variables because they're part of the structural model. Depress is part of the measurement model, and it's measured by these 4 depression variables. Now, so we can bring self-esteem over, and impulse over, and depression over. And now we can bring our items for depression over, and then because these are eta variables, these need to be checked, and so they should be blue. And we can make these smaller, like this one smaller. We can highlight these and then go to image and size and both to smallest, and that way we can give ourselves a little more room on the in the drawing path area. Then again, because these are eta variables, I should say constructs, we bring our impulse items over. And again, we can modify their shape, make them a little smaller. And so they're easier to fit on. Now we draw our arrows. So we're drawing arrows from self-esteem to our indicator variables, or our items that measure self-esteem. We'll do the same thing with impulse, and then we'll do the same thing with depress. And then we can draw our arrows here, as in the path diagram. And then we can go to setup and build the simplest syntax. And you'll see this simplest syntax file that will come up. And then we can click on OK, and then it runs our analysis for us. And so this is our model. We see these are our path coefficients for the relationship between our variables. These are the path coefficients for each variable for the measurement model, and these are the errors that associated with each variable that measures each of our constructs.